Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Hmong Womxn Thriving podcast. Guys, I'm so excited for today's episode. I'm so thrilled to be joined by Lex, Cheng, and Emmie Wang. They are the founders of Modern Hmong Girl. Wow. Oh my gosh. Modern Hmong Girl is a podcast and digital media brand dedicated to inspiring, empowering, and amplifying the voices of Hmong women. And you guys already know, if you guys are on the Hmong Womxn Thriving podcast, that's what we're all about here too. So it's so exciting, and I'm just so honored to have them join me on today's episode. Lex and Emmy are creating bold spaces where Hmong women like me and you can reclaim our narratives, challenge the silence, dismantle generational experiences, and navigate the intersections of identity, healing, and cultural storytelling. Their work has really become a guiding voice for our community as Hmong American women, really seeking personal growth, community connection, and unapologetic self expression. Friends, in this episode, we're going to explore their journey, their vision for Modern Hmong Girl, and how they are redefining what it means to be a Hmong woman in today's world. So, we're going to jump right into the episode. Lex and Emmy, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited. Can you each kind of share a little bit about your background and what inspired you both to really start with Modern Hmong Girl?
Yeah, okay. So I can start first. Ariel, thank you for that fantastic introduction about Modern Hmong Girl and Emmy and I. Oh my gosh, I'm so thrilled and honored to be on the Hmong Womxn Thriving podcast. So, my name is Lex Cheng. I am 26 years old. I graduated from St. Kate's with a bachelor's in science in business, sales, and economics. I have been in the Hmong nonprofit sector for about 3 years now. I am the oldest in my family, so, a lot of baggage there. And, that's part of what inspired me to start Modern Hmong Girl. And Modern Hmong Girl they contain the conversations and stories that we're able to tell unapologetically, authentically, and boldly. And what makes it Modern Hmong Girl is that everybody has a different story, but we all have something in common, which is that value within each other's story. And MHG is here to honor that. And so this is like my first passion project that I have ever like really pursued too. And so this is just so awesome. And I wouldn't be here without listening to my first podcast ever, which is ABG, Asian Boss Girl, that has inspired me to start Modern Hmong Girl. But what was different to me was that Asian Boss Girl was more on like the East Asians, right? And for us Hmong girlies, we are Southeast Asians. And so I wanted to really highlight our Southeast Asian communities, stories, and experiences. And so I just love the concept of powerful and inspiring Asian women coming together and telling their stories because it gives us a sense of belonging. And so that's why Modern Hmong Girl is here, and we are here to stay.
All right, so just echoing off what Lex said, thank you so much, Ariel, for having us today on the podcast. Super excited and just a little nervous because it's Lex and I's like first official time on another podcast. So thank you again for having us. We're super excited. But a little about me, I go by Emmy, but my name is me. I go by Emmy as like a nickname because growing up, like my name me, it was always like, oh, a joke with people. So I go by Emmy. I'm from a big family of 10. So I'm the second youngest, but I am the youngest daughter. So all my sisters, everyone got married early and everything. So I am 26 years old, graduated from St. Kate's with a bachelor's in business admin and marketing. So I grew up in a very like traditional household, and we had like very traditional views, and my family has been slowly adapting to the changes of the modern world, but it's still a work in progress, you know. So growing up, I didn't have like relationships with my sisters or my mom where I could freely talk to them about things that I was going through or relationships and just stuff in general. So I've always imagined like how amazing it would be to have a platform, right, for us women to empower and uplift each other. Like just me specifically doing like modeling and all this stuff. You know, I already had like this little platform where like women will reach out to me and be like, "Oh, you're so inspiring," and I love that. And I just thought I just want to expand that and grow that more. You know, so I think just starting this passion project with Lex has been so amazing, and we're like already 1 year and a half down the road. So yeah.
That is amazing. Oh, and so interesting. I love kind of knowing where you are in your family because I think so much of how we are brought up and how we live our life is kind of where we are in our family. So that's so interesting. Lex, I am the oldest as well, so I totally understand. But I mean, I have many friends that are the baby girl in their family, so I totally understand the narrative on your end too. And thank you guys so much for sharing a little bit about that. You know, I think it's so important, and I love that we all kind of share that same mission, right? Like Modern Hmong Girl and Hmong Women Thriving, like we're really here to just push our voices, our stories, our peers' stories into the community and more, right? So I love it. I love it. It's exciting. My next question, you know, were there specific moments or experiences that really made you feel that this platform was needed?
You know, it's funny because, like, most definitely, this platform was really needed for Emmy and I. But most importantly, it wasn't just for Emmy and I, but it's for the entire community because there are so many of us out there that feel like this, but we're just too scared to say it out loud, right? And I think that's what makes Emmy and I here from Modern Hmong Girl because we're like we're not scared to say it anymore. Like we're not scared to like put people in check, clock it because honestly, if no one ever clocks people, we're just going to stay the same. Like you know, we're not going to go anywhere. And so it's funny, I used to make ranting videos back in high school and college, you know, because I was just so stressed about my family and everything. I love them dearly, but, you know, just like that upholding the oldest daughter and everything that comes with being a Hmong daughter and everything, just everything, to be honest. And so I was also thinking during the time, like, why don't I turn, you know, these rants and conversations and experiences into a podcast? And, you know, I wasn't the only one having these experiences because, like, Emmy would have these experiences with her family. My other Hmong girlfriends would have similar experiences with their families too. But it wasn't just about family, you know, it was about identity. It was about navigating um, like two different cultures, being Hmong and being American, right? And so that's why I just felt like I was having episodes with myself, episodes with Emmy, episodes with my other Hmong girlfriends. And so it was an idea for 3 years and it was already happening, but then it came into fruition finally.
I feel like for me, I think I was relate this a lot to just growing up, right? I feel like there are so many instances like growing up where I felt like we needed a platform, you know? So, like I said, relating it back to like a traditional household, right? Like not having the courage to just do something outside of the standard good Hmong girl expectations, you know, like we talked about in a previous episode too. It's so hard because you just want to complete and like check mark all the good expectations, and then you're scared to branch out of something to do something new. So I think it was like during college, yeah, it was really hard to balance like schoolwork and then coming home and being a good daughter and, you know, cooking and doing everything for them. You're like so mentally drained and exhausted. And then also like trying to find my own identity as a Hmong woman all together at the same time, you're like just so lost with where to go and what to do. So I was really thankful that I had my friends like Lex and them there for me during the hard times, and my diary and my journaling, which was like on my phone. You look through like all my notes, it's all like dated and journaling about like everything I feel with my family and relationships I've gone through, right? So I think just all the experiences in general throughout the years of growing up, it really like drove me to like think how just like again how amazing it would be to have a platform where our identity as small women would be celebrated, and our healing is supported, and our stories, our real authentic stories, are supported and can be shared in this platform and community. So really it's just really about giving small women a space to feel like seen, heard, and proud of who we are.
Oh, I love that so much. That's so encouraging. And honestly, and I tell this to people all the time. I'm like, I wish when I was growing up, we had something like this, right? We had a platform, or I mean, I love listening to podcasts, YouTube videos, or anything like that because it's so needed. You know, sometimes as much as and I'm sure you both feel this way too, you know, as much as you have friends that you can talk to things about, or you know, family members that you can talk to things about, sometimes it's hard to kind of open up in the first place. And so to be able to now have our platforms, you know, have influencers or YouTubers, or you know, just people that look like us who kind of have the same background as us share their stories, it's just so encouraging. And it's like, oh gosh, like, okay, I'm not alone, you know, like I'm not alone, other people are going through this, you know, and if they can do it, I can do it too. So I love it, so so good. You know, I've been an avid follower of Modern Hmong Girl for a really long time. Okay, I love everything that you two do. Your platform really focuses on identity, healing, and cultural storytelling. How do you define these elements into the context of both of your guys' work?
I really love this question because I define it as strength. Okay. Being able to be yourself while healing and to tell your story. Girl, that is a superpower. To be able to be vulnerable but heal that vulnerability so fast, that's resiliency right there. And so to be yourself unapologetically is definitely a practice, and it's going to make you feel so liberating, because to tell your story, that is the most valuable thing that you can ever tell anyone, because it's your story. And so I think that it definitely comes from your strength and believing yourself, because there has been so many times that I didn't believe in myself for a very very long time, and it was like I never felt free. I always felt really restricted from everything. And so, definitely looking into your inner light, having the courage to build up that strength and just be able to be yourself and really reflect that onto yourself and to your community too, is everything you do is just a superpower.
I think everything Lex said was amazing, and I just really think that with the three like focus in identity, healing, and cultural storytelling, it's really recognizing that like being Hmong today doesn't mean that we're fitting just into one mold, right? Everyone is so different. Like we said, it's like a modern world now. We live in America, and everything is different from how we were back then. And it could mean like honoring tradition in just like one moment and then expressing yourself individually different in the next moment, right? So it's really like just understanding ourselves and like where we come from, how we want to show up in the world. And I feel like together the three really define what Modern Hmong Girl is all about. They remind me that like telling our authentic stories that we've gone through in our life, and we want to preserve our culture and inspire community and create a space for the next generation to see themselves. Like you said, when we were growing up, we always looked up like to people that like, oh, they look like us, oh my gosh, they're doing such amazing things, they look exactly like me, right? And we want to do that, we want to leave that, like just so that people will be feeling proud, and like they know that yes, their stories matter, because everybody, what we've gone through, everything matters, and we have this platform to leave that there for them to realize that what they go through, what they've gone through, it matters.
Oh. That's so beautiful. So you guys share, a little bit about how does Modern Hmong Girl create space for Hmong women to share their stories and be heard?
Absolutely. We had our first event in July called Girls Day Out, and it is a event series that we want to continue doing. And it was just so exciting getting to see everyone there, different age groups there as well. We did a little Hmong interpretation. Shout out to Emmy for that. Yeah, but we love curating these kind of spaces, and they are for our Hmong women, girls, BIPOC, LGBTQ plus community to come together to be able to unapologetically be themselves and to break that stereotype, to be loud, because Hmong women and girls were taught to be quiet. But no, in this space, you can be as loud as you want. You are here to show that you're confident, that you're resilient, that you're bold, you're loving, you belong in this space.
So aside from like all the events that we're hosting as well, we also recently created a Facebook page called MHG Sistars. Instead of sisters, it's sisters because we're all stars, right? So we created that space really to be more like inclusive and have that community where we could post anything and have everyone just included in all the conversations that we have behind the scenes and like all the things that Modern Hmong Girl does to get to where we are, right? And aside from that as well, we also have like a series called Dear Nobody, and it's a series where you can submit your stories anonymously, right? Because sometimes in life it's hard to have conversations with friends and families with topics that you feel you can't bring up, so we have this platform where you can discuss about anything in your life with what you're comfortable with, from like accomplishments to your deepest struggles. And we have that so we could like discuss a submission and talk about it and on a platform for our Hmong women and anyone really.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. I love the the meetups, and the Facebook page is such a good idea. Dear Nobody, so great. I can't wait to hear all of the submissions or just hear you two talk about what's going on, right? Because I think like you mentioned, Emmy, when you're going through something and you don't necessarily want to share it with your family and friends yet, it's so good to have an outlet because then you can hear other people's advice, what they're thinking, but you don't necessarily have to be like, oh, that was me, right? So I love that. That's such a good idea. And these are great spaces. Friends, if you are tuning in, I have yet to go to a meetup. I was so sad I couldn't attend the first one, but when Modern Hmong Girl hosts their next one and the following one and the following one show up, oh my gosh, I just know it's such a good environment. I saw your guys's posts about the first one and it just looked so fun. I loved seeing the diversity, right? Like you guys mentioned, there's young people, old folks, and BIPOC and all of that. So I love it. I love it. Stepping into this next section of the podcast, I want to talk a little bit about the podcast content and your topics of choices, right? Like I mentioned earlier, I'm an avid follower and listener of the Modern Hmong Girl podcast. And so when I see new episodes pop up or even see you guys post on social media and it's certain things, I'm like, oh, period. Like, yes, I'm so glad they're talking about that. I'm so glad that that's the topic of conversation for this week. So, in your episode, WTF is Ocean Day, you unpack really the Hmong phrase, often translated to be patient, right? It's really rooted in endurance and kind of that emotional restraint. How do you both navigate this cultural expectation in your personal lives? And how does it influence the topics that you both kind of choose to discuss on the podcast?
Yeah, so like many other demeaning or degrading words or phrases, I now took that phrase of Day and redefined it, because Day is not for other people anymore, but it is for myself. I deserve to be patient for myself. And a lot of the time for Modern Hmong Girl, we use the phrase, give yourself grace. And, that's like a translation to being patient with yourself too, right? So all of the patience that I grew up giving others, I now give it to myself because I am just like them too. I'm a person. I have feelings. I understand. And it sucks because I'm an empath too. And so it's like, I want to be patient with you too, but you're not letting me be patient with you. um, but yeah, no, I will still be patient with people, but now to an extent, right? Now to have a boundary because I don't owe anyone anything, but I do owe myself something, and it's to be the best version of myself.
Yeah, so I just feel like Oshinde is just so deeply rooted into the Hmong culture, right? And depending on how you use it, it could be used in a positive way or it could be abused in a negative way, you know? And I feel like growing up, it was often just like a reminder for us to hold back and, just like I said, be the little good Hmong girl and not say anything. Just wait, just endure all the things that are coming your way. Don't say anything, because we're not allowed to, we shouldn't. And I feel like because of that, I've had to really learn how to navigate that in my life because it was so hard when I was growing up. I always day, and when I couldn't day anymore, I crashed out in my room. It was like it was those situations where I'm like, okay, this is not what I want to go through. Being day just really it drains you so much to a point where you have to like go cry quietly in your room or like go take out your anger to your pillow instead of doing it a healthy way, right? So I think now with how I've dealt with it is really, like Lex said, creating those boundaries with friends and with family. It's so hard to do with family, but you just have to for your own sake, for your own mental health, and knowing to create those boundaries now, I think has just helped so much. I still have issues now, it's not perfect. Like we said, give ourselves grace. It's not perfect. You won't be able to always question they every time or tell them no every single time or speak up every single time, right? But give yourself grace because it takes time to really stand up and unpack everything that you've gone through or unpack the ocean day or all the Hmong stigmas that we have. And I feel like for the next question, how it influences the topics that we discuss on the podcast. I think it directly influences everything because Ocean Day really revolves around all the mental health, and it makes us struggle with our identity and all the cultural expectations that Hmong women really feel. So, yeah, I feel like that in general really impacts all the topics that we have for our podcast because we want to talk about the topics that are uncomfortable. We have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. So, yeah, I hope that like by unpacking it on our podcast that we can show that patient doesn't mean that we have to be silent and that it's possible to also honor our culture values while advocating for ourselves and share our stories and creating the space for healing.
It's so important. And I think as we kind of grow up, like we're going to be what the next generation is looking at, right? And we're talking about these conversations, we're having the hard conversations where we're trying to move that needle. And, as I reflect a lot and have these conversations, even with my own grandmother or the women in my family, these have always been conversations that we want to have, right? But like you guys said, we're so used to being quiet, being, you know, let's not talk about that, right? Like let's talk about something else. And I'm so excited for what Modern Hmong Girl is doing because this is going to not only is it going to kind of change the trajectory for the next generation, but it's gonna make us have these conversations with everyone else in the community, not just Hmong women, right? It's gonna be the men in our community. It's gonna be the elders in our community. So, I'm as you two are kind of just sharing, I'm just feeling so grateful. I have a younger sister, right? And I'm excited for what her generation is going to see, how Hmong women thrive, how we can have these conversations, how we're going to change, how our dynamics are going to be different than what it is now, right? So I love it. I love it. Talking a little bit more about your podcast, you guys are having these conversations, obviously, for the Hmong American woman experience, right? We're navigating these bicultural identities and all of the things on top of that. So, how do you both select these topics that really resonate with your audience? And can you share an episode that particularly highlights, the challenges and the triumphs of living between these two cultures?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, it is really through experience, right? Because we are the ones that experience it first-handedly. And it's wild for me when I started realizing that I had two identities, a Hmong identity and American identity, right? It was when I was probably in well, actually, I guess I've always known, but when it really came into fruition was high school, because in my home, I follow these really strict rules. But when I went to school, how come it was so different? Because it was diverse. We had like all kinds of ethnic backgrounds, and so I just found it really weird where I was here in the public, but I acted a different way. But when I was at home, I would have to hinder that. I would have to hinder my American side and just be like 100% Hmong. But it was hard to navigate that because sometimes I would be embarrassed of being Hmong, and then sometimes I would be embarrassed to be American too, And so it was always that battle where I couldn't be both. But now I know that I definitely can be both. Now that I am older, it is definitely still something that I feel like this is gonna definitely be a lifelong journey of always having those two identities and figuring it out. But it's what you choose it out to be. And so an example in one of our episodes that we talked about this was actually our most recent episode, the unspoken competition between Hmong women, where we discussed about being too whitewashed or too fobby, oh, if you don't know how to cook, clean, do chores, unalive animals, do the regular traditions and stuff, then you're just too whitewashed, right? But if you know how to do all of that, it's like, oh my gosh, you're fobby or you're kind of scary. And I just remember one of the stories back when I lived with my family. My parents, they would clean the fish outside, and since we live in a corner house, I would be so embarrassed. I'll be like, bro, everybody's walking around the block, around the corner, we're just out here casually scraping the fish. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And so that's an example of me navigating my culture, because to us, to our Hmong culture, it's normal to do that because that's how we make our food. But to the American streamlined society and culture, they're like, why don't you just get that at the store? You guys doing all this work, this is so weird. We're not hunters and gatherers anymore. But yeah, I feel like talking about these topics are very important, because I do know that we do talk about these things with our friends, aunties, mothers, but then we don't have a platform like this to publicly speak it out, right? And so to have something publicly means that we are being seen and we're being heard.
I feel like Lex explained everything pretty well. We really want to be as raw and as authentic as possible, so we always try to choose from our own experiences that we have, right? So it can relate to what other Modern Hmong girls are going through. And I would say like another episode that really captured this was the healing from the good girl conditioning. And in that episode, we just really unpacked what it meant to be conditioned to be obedient, to be the good Hmong girl, and the way that it can really limit self expression and our independence and our mental health.
Beautiful. Stepping into this next section of the podcast, I want to talk about your guys' community impact and engagement. I know we mentioned briefly earlier about kind of the events that you guys, your mini or your hosting series that you guys are hosting, as well as your Facebook page and everything like that. I also feel like you guys are very active on social media, which is always great for community engagement. What has been kind of the most rewarding aspect of having this platform and the podcast? Have I want to hear, what responses you guys have gotten from your listeners and even like community members.
Honestly, just meeting them and knowing that we've made them feel seen, because we literally see them as we meet them, and they also make us feel seen too. And so it's just not us, but it's Modern Hmong Girl. And when we meet our listeners, they are just not girls and women. They are also boys and men too. And it is just it's so empowering to know that, our Hmong boys and men, they listen to Modern Hmong Girl and they understand where we come from. And when we do meet them, it's never like anything hostile or negative, right? It's just always uplifting and supportive, because it just makes all of us feel seen and represented. And that's why, just like what I said before, we have these conversations with our family, friends, but we don't have it on a public platform where, we are being represented as that. And so I think when Emmy and I, we meet our listeners, it's just the most rewarding thing, because we actually see them, they see us, they can relate to us, and that's already like an automatic connection there with our listeners and community members. So yeah, it's just so wholesome.
Yeah, I think Lex completely took it out of my mouth. It really is just meeting all our listeners that do listen to us and really realizing that, wow, people do know Modern Hmong Girl and they love what we do and they encourage us to keep doing what we're doing. So really just meeting them in person or even just online too, it's very empowering. And I think one thing that stuck to me was we have a friend and she was talking to us about a podcast and she told us like, yeah, this girl that I know told me that she like listened to your podcast and like on her way to work she was listening to your episode and she got really emotional and she cried because she really connected with it. And I was like, wow, like to really know that we do make an impact like that, really like it's so rewarding and it's so emotional. It affects you emotionally because you're like, wow, we are helping people, realize all the negatives and the positives of what we go through as Modern Hmong girls. And yeah, I think just really knowing that we really do have an impact on our listeners is so rewarding because that impact also gives us more impact.
That's so, so sweet. And it's so true. I just feel like it's such a good outlet because nobody really has these conversations, or if they do, it's in a very acquired space, right? Like we have to kind of search for these conversations and we have to find the community to have these conversations. But I love that you guys have this platform now, and when Hmong women tune in, Hmong anyone, and actually anyone who tunes in can have a space to really just feel how they're feeling or feel validated and all of those things. So I love it. You two are so, so amazing. So for this next section, I really want to talk about, the challenges and the growth as, we all are in this space. I know how hard it is to produce a podcast. I know how much passion and how much love you really have to have for your topic and your community to really continue to post these podcast episodes, content continuously. And I feel like you two never miss. Okay. Like I literally feel like you two never miss, which is amazing. So, really, what challenges have you faced in really creating and sustaining a platform like this? And truthfully, as we kind of talk about your platform, it really is centering around Hmong women and our voices, right? And so sometimes you can kind of get some resistance to that. So if you can share, what challenges you both have faced.
Absolutely. Glad to. As we are creating for the public, right? There are always going to be haters, and I think like every creator can say that too, that they have haters. And it is a challenge that we do have to face, because we're just not like reading the haters comments and like feeling bad about it, but we have to take it mentally, physically, professionally, spiritually, everything elite, right? And so I definitely do expect the hate with the content that Emmy and I put out there, and we have prepared for it. And I think that's why Modern Hmong Girl has been in the works for 3 years, contemplating if we wanted to create it or not, because those 3 years we were preparing for the hate, because we're like, you know what, we already get so much hate. Like before Modern Hmong Girl started, like we already got like hate for standing up for ourselves, or like saying what's right and everything, our feelings, validating everything like that. And so we're just like, okay, we already got the gist of like what they would hate about. So now we're going to put it in public, and when they hate us, it'll be like the same hate we already got, but it'll just be bigger because, like as these people, they come together and yeah, all of that stuff. But, it's okay because I'm way too busy worrying about my haters. I actually appreciate them for giving me a necessary criticism, because I'm glad I'm their reason. Okay. I'm glad Emmy and I are their reason to comment, to put energy out there, because y'all are actually hyping us up. Like, you guys say these mean things, you guys sexualize us, you guys put us down, but y'all, thank you so much for fueling us up. But, I don't want to discredit our supporters too. Our supporters, always number one priority, okay? We love y'all so much. You guys are our source of fuel, but the secondary source are the haters. It's a spicy there, but that's why it's bitter sweetness.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Lex said everything already. Really, just all the haters that really comes with the topics that we discussed about, right? Like our most recent post that we posted up about it's okay to not be Nyat 10K. That had a lot of traction, a lot of haters, just because we did one simple statement, just stating that it's okay to not be a Nyat 10K. It's okay to not be perfect. It's okay. And from that, people create their own narrative without even understanding the whole story. So their narrative they create, it creates the hate in them, and then they just, keep the comments coming. And I think it's just so crazy that um just us talking about things like this can create so much hate and traction, but that really just gives us more strength, right? That we have to really stick together, and that's why we have this platform to stick together and to really be resilient against this, because that's what makes us us, and that's what keeps us going, because we are modern home girls and we're gonna keep pushing through it. So
Yes, so good. And I saw that post. I loved that post. I shared that post because, period. Okay. It is totally okay to not be a Nya 10K. I also listened to the podcast that you guys released, and you guys kind of talked about that post. And I thought it was so beautifully done because the marketing was like A1. Like it was so good. And I also kind of like, being the person I am, I like read through the comments too. And oh my gosh, like it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And it was so funny because when you two just explained the reason why you guys, made that post and wanted to talk about that topic, it's because we're so shaped and not groomed necessarily, but at a young age, we're taught to become this perfect daughter in law, right? And you guys were just stating the fact that it's okay to not be perfect, but it just totally made everyone so, so angry. And I think it's so, so, so important. And I continue to stress this because I don't want the next generation to think that they need to be the perfect daughter in law. To be the best Hmong woman is to become the perfect daughter in law. No, that's not where we're going to take the next generation. So I loved it. It was great. It was amazing. We're going to continue having these conversations. You know, it's going to rub people the wrong way, but go ahead, feel what you need to feel because apparently you have a lot of unlearning and a lot of hate that you need to fix, right? So I love it. As I'm kind of working through this next segment, how have you two both grown personally and professionally through Modern Hmong Girl?
Modern Hmong Girl holds such a soft spot in my heart. Yeah, not to be like cliche or anything, but it really does. Like I'm so happy and honored to be the host, co-host with Emmy on Modern Hmong Girl, to be able to share this space with the community, with everyone. And I feel like as Emmy and I were creating Modern Hmong Girl, also we're creating ourselves too. And Modern Hmong Girl has molded us even more, and that's our intention with our listeners, right? So like while they're listening to Modern Hmong Girl, they're also creating themselves. And so Emmy and I, even though we did create Modern Hmong Girl, we are just at the right like waves as everyone else too. You know, we're still creating ourselves. And so I definitely embraced being more unapologetic, resilient, confident, loud, strong, soft, grounded, all of those with Modern Hmong Girl. And I honestly cannot see myself not doing Modern Hmong Girl because like, you know, Emmy and I, we've been doing this for the past year and a half. And I'm just thinking, like, what if we never started Modern Hmong Girl? What would we be doing for the past year and a half? Like, it would be so weird. And so that's why, you know, I just appreciate and honor this platform so much. And I've also grown professionally with Modern Hmong Girl as well because I never knew I could stay up that late doing work, okay? Like, I am not like, I'm a 9 to 5 girly, and then once when it hits 5, I'm done. I don't think about work. I don't want to work anymore. But with this, with Modern Hmong Girl, our passion project, damn, didn't know we could stay up that late. I was like, bro, I am just gonna have 3 hours of sleep, I guess. And then I have to go to my 9 to 5. And then after my 9 to 5, it's my 5 to midnight, to be honest, or even more. Um, but yeah, wanting to become a boss woman is not for the weak. So, professionally and personally, I have really grown dedication and passion to Modern Hmong Girl.
I love that, Lex. Well, for me, I think personally, Modern Hmong Girl really has made a really, really big impact on my life at home. You know, like being a Hmong daughter that still lives at home with her parents and being that sister, you know, and not knowing how to draw those boundaries. And the topics that we talk about, I feel like that makes me like I have to embody what I'm talking about, you know, or else like why am I talking about it, you know, like that's what goes through my head, and really it really gives me that push and the motivation to really do all the healthy things for me. And from the podcast, I've really learned how to pour out my feelings and be vulnerable because that's what we want on our platform, right? We want that vulnerability to be able to connect to our listeners and also drawing those boundaries with the family, with the friends, with everyone. Yeah, I think it's just helped me grow so much in ways that I don't think I would have been able to if I didn't have Modern Home Girl. And I think professionally, I definitely have grown so much. I've learned so much through Modern Hmong Girl. And like Lexi recently did a workshop right with the Asian Youth Summit. And yeah, that was a lot of learning. We were teaching people. I was like, oh my gosh, what? We're teaching people? That is so crazy. And through that, you really learn so many skills, right? Like through podcast editing skills and social media marketing skills and content creating. So yes, you learn so much with just starting the podcast in general. And we did grow our team with Modern Hmong Girl, so that comes with learning how to like manage a team as well. And yeah, I think Modern Hmong Girl has grown together so much personally and professionally.
So good. Congratulations on all of the achievements. That's amazing. It feels so freeing, doesn't it? I also, I tell people too, like when you're creating a podcast, you're kind of like a project manager, CEO, like like all of, you have all of the titles, right? And when you bring on a team, it just not only does it lessen the load, but then it shows you so much growth that you have too. So I love that the podcast has been able to not only personally like feed something in the two of you, but also professionally too. These are skills that, we can ultimately use in the workforce, right? Like if we want to, like these are the skills that we can use. So I love that for you guys. Ladies, we're coming down to the wire here. Oh my gosh, I've appreciated your guys' time so much. Your guys' nuggets of wisdom. Like I feel like I'm learning so much from you too, and I appreciate it so much. So, kind of, my final question that I ask all of my guests who come on to the podcast. First being, what does being a Hmong woman mean to you today?
So, a Hmong woman to me means beating the stereotype of being shy, quiet, or scared. Growing up, I literally wanted to live that stereotype because I was just so scared of the world. And that's what I was taught, right? That's what we were conditioned to be scared of the world, quiet, stay in our lane, just be in our cookie cutter world. But that's not what a Hmong girl or a Hmong woman should be. They should not be they should not be scared. They should be able to speak out, express themselves, and do and say whatever they want to do. So breaking out of the stereotype is what we want. And I just can't believe it when I just think back to when I actually wanted to be the stereotype so bad because I was just like that's just all what I knew and what I learned. And so I just wanted to be in my own circle because I didn't want to get uncomfortable because I was just so scared to get uncomfortable. But I think really embracing who I truly am and expressing that to the public and to my family. So going back, being able to express it inside my family's home and then in the public too, that is what a Hmong woman is.
As for me, I feel like being a Hmong woman is really just being unapologetically me, like we always see in our podcast, just being unapologetically me, every part of me, every side of me, and showing that as it is, and showing up for myself, and just being who I am as I am. And yeah, for that's it for me. Just being unapologetically me and not wanting to hide any parts of me and not wanting to dim any part of me because of expectations or because of these standards. And yeah.
Love it. Could you both share a quote or mantra or either a piece of wisdom that inspires your work and your life?
Yeah, for sure. So I have been saying this for quite some time now. I don't even know where it came from, but the show must go on. Okay, period. Like the show must go on. And the reason why I just started saying this is I was thinking back to last year and this year with everything that happened to me. And I learned that no matter what happens, the world will keep spinning, unfortunately. And so I can keep on dwelling on the past, but what am I going to do about it? Like, am I going to do nothing? If I do nothing, then the show still goes on and I will never be the main character because that scene in my head that I'm dwelling on, that is the main character. So if I'm going to do something about it, then welcome to my show.
For me, it is give yourself grace. That's something I say all the time, and I say it every single day to myself because we're growing every single day and we go through challenges every single day. And sometimes we can't control the external things that happen in our life. And so many things happen, right? And you can't keep pushing yourself down or you can't keep blaming yourself for things that happen. So I always remind myself to give myself grace. Things didn't work out because it just wasn't meant to work out. And things didn't happen because it just wasn't meant to be in your life. So I always say, yeah, give yourself grace because if you don't give yourself grace, who else will give you grace, So yeah, mine is just give yourself grace. It keeps me going, keeps me pushing, keeps me going every single day and saying, like, it's a new day, we restart again, and, it's okay to make mistakes.
I love that so much. Okay, y'all. So remember, the show must go on and you must give yourself grace. We love it. So, so good, ladies. Well, Lex and Emmy, thank you so, so, so much for joining me today on Hmong Women Thriving. I want to be able to share your work with the listeners. So, where can the listeners follow your work, podcast, and connect with Modern Hmong Girl?
Yeah, so you guys can find me at Lex Galaxy on Facebook and Instagram, and then Modern Hmong Girl at Modern Hmong Girl, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok at Modern Hmong Girl.
Lex already said the Modern Hmong Girl, so you can find me on Instagram at Emmy Wang X. That's my Instagram. And yeah, Modern Hmong Girl is here for you every Wednesday. So make sure to listen to our podcast on Wednesdays. And like we said, you can find us on all social media platforms.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Guys, the links will be in the description box below so you guys know exactly where to find Modern Hmong Girl, Lex, and Emmy. They release every Wednesday, so that was yesterday. So go ahead and go listen to the episode from yesterday, okay? um, Ladies, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing your vision, your stories, and the bold work that you both are doing to empower Hmong women. Your dedication, really, through this entire conversation, by creating space, authentic voices, it just reminds me so much of how powerful it is for storytelling and our community. So, to the listeners, I hope this conversation inspires you to reclaim your narrative, embrace your identity, and find courage in sharing your story with the world. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you two so much.
Thank you, Ariel, for having us on.